Hey guys, Brad here, and today I'm bringing you my top 5 most under and overrated cards in the Grand Tournament. Now, I kind of base this just upon my own feelings from what I've been reading online in the forums, and just listening to different reviewers about what their opinions were on certain cards, and even podcasts nonetheless. So I feel like some of these cards are going to have a huge impact that most people aren't seeing the full potential of, and then some cards people are looking at for the current meta and they think are amazing, or they're just thinking they're going to be the best thing in the game, but not really, in my opinion, worth the value that they're given. I believe the most underrated card that I barely even hear anybody talk about is Enter the Coliseum. 6 mana, destroy all minions except each player's highest attack minion. This is insane. Everybody's thinking about, oh, if there's aggro and you play it, what's the difference? They still have the minion and whatnot. You're looking at the aspect of right now in the meta, where later on I feel like it's going to definitely slow down a lot. There's still going to be face decks, but doesn't mean this card's going to be bad. And also on top of that, if you're playing control versus control, Equality Consecrate is not going to be better than this, as you don't want to give your minions 1 health and clearing their board, because that just makes it so much easier for them to kill off your minions. I see the most value out of this with Aldor Peacekeeper and Enter the Coliseum. As 9 mana, you even get to choose who you want to be on the board at that point. Also, obviously, a lesser mana cost would be Humility and Enter the Coliseum. Maybe we'll see Humility come back in. At one point, we did see Humility in the game with Stampeding Kodo, but who knows? This is just my guess. I just don't see anybody really talking about it, and I'm quite surprised, as I feel like it's going to give Paladin that push that they actually need. So next up is Anubarak. So this is the rogue legendary that everybody is looking at, and they're like, 9 mana for a 4 health minion is nothing. Nobody's going to want to play this card. It's too weak, blah, blah, blah. I actually first heard about this, and I was amazed when I heard Kevin from the Well Met podcast say that this card actually has quite great potential, because you play it and it's a non-stop cycle. You're getting 4/4s every time it dies, and then you can just play it again. It's a non-stop. They have to silence it, or else you're going to overwhelm them no matter what. They're either going to have to rush you down, or they have to silence it. Those are the 2 only options when this card gets played. So I actually think it could be good. I think that there's going to be a rogue deck that uses this. I'm not saying it's going to be the best. I'm not saying that this is the best legendary and you're going to see rogues only throughout the ladder, but you will see, I think, a rogue deck with this card, and it actually will be pretty good. Now, the next most underrated card, I think, would be the Buccaneer, which is another rogue card. As you see here, I think some of the rogue cards are kind of, everybody's shitting on the rogue, saying that the rogue got the worst of this expansion, rogues are getting killed off, but I don't think people realize the Buccaneer's a greater Goblin Auto Barber, because Goblin Auto Barber actually is quite awkward to play. Do you just coin out Hero Power in turn 1 and Goblin Auto Barber, or are you playing Goblin Auto Barber later on when you could just use a Deadly Poison and get extra attack on your weapon? It's tough. I don't see how Goblin Auto Barber is that great. I actually think that you would take out Goblin Auto Barber for it. And it is a nice little pirate synergy. Now, I don't think pirates are still going to be the greatest thing. I don't think they're going to take over, but we did see some success, as a couple big name people think Zixo is the guy who brought a pirate rogue deck all the way to legend, so it definitely can be done, and I think that this card is going to help out along with a few other cards that were released, but I don't think that they're underappreciated. But a card I do think that is underappreciated, and yes, this all is dependent on if Beast Druid becomes a thing, is Knight of the Wild. I hear about how it's a 7 mana 6/6 and you need to play X amount of cards for it to be useful, and if it's top decked it's terrible. I kind of would disagree if it's top decked, are you? Because if you top deck it, that means that you don't have any other choice, and would you rather top deck like an Innervate? I just think that it's not the worst top deck, because if you're top decking, you're probably already at 10 mana, which means you're just playing the card and using your hero power. So at least it's not 9 mana, so you can't use your hero power too. But I think that this is going to be crazy. If Beast Druid becomes the thing, it's crazy. You can get this down to like 2 mana 6/6. But yeah, I think it's not bad. I just think that people think it's worse than what it is, I guess. That's why it's, in my opinion, underrated. That's all. And I would say probably the most underrated card would be Dreadsteed. I'm not saying this is good, and I'm not saying that this is bad. I just think it's underrated. I think people are looking at it and they're like, 4 mana 1/1. It's more of the fact that it's constant. It's always there. You always got some. You could buff it. You can kill it off. You could, it's just a cycle. You can even Mortal Coil it yourself, and you still get the 1/1 back. Baron Rivendare, make 2 1/1s. I don't know if this is going to be useful. I'm just saying that I think that there's going to be more uses for this card. It's a non-stop cycle. You're always going to be pinging stuff. It's kind of like Warlock's new ping. Basically, you play it for 4 mana, you get a non-stop ping. Constantly you're pinging something for free though. It's kind of like you're up front playing 4 mana to ping for the rest of the game, this card. Obviously they could silence it, but I think people would say that that's not terrible. Every turn you're able to ping something for free after, so who knows? I could be wrong. Now though, since we're done with the underrated cards, let's go into the overrated cards. And I think, I'm not sure if there's really an order here, but we're just going to go down the line. I think one of the most overrated cards to me is Confessor Paltress. Now, I've heard a few people, I know that it's gotten mixed reviews. People think it's terrible, people think it's good, people think whatever. But just for the people that think it's good, I want to assure you it's not good. Now think of it in this aspect. Okay, this is a 7 mana 5/4, which people are going nuts about Evil Heckler, which is a 4 mana 5/4. So it basically has the same stat line as a 4 mana card. And now you have to use your hero power along with it in order to get value. So you're looking at 9 mana 5/4. A 9 mana 5/4, that's crazy. And then you get a random legendary, which actually, I would say you're getting a nerf kind of with a couple of the legendaries that have been released. You're probably not going to want Acid Maw, for example, or the Dread Scale, whatever, the other Hunter. Either of the new legendaries for Hunter, you're not going to want those cards. But I'm not saying that this isn't going to do well. This is just so random, and the stat line is so terrible. Maybe if it was a 7 mana 4/5, I would say, yeah, okay, it might be playable because it can kind of live to some things. It's like a Yeti with a hero power. I don't know. I have no idea. But I just think that the people that are saying it's going to be overpowered or great, this and that, I think you're going to be quite disappointed with this card. And the next card here, I'm going to say, which I'm sure a lot of people are going to laugh at me for saying that this is overrated, but Healing Wave, great card for Shaman, really. I mean, restoring 14 health if you win a joust is absurd at 3 mana. But the thing is, if you don't run into aggro, which the whole expansion is kind of centered around taking this game and making it slower. You're looking at, I mean, yes, there's cards that make aggro still viable. I think aggro is still going to live. I don't think aggro's dead. I don't think that nobody's going to play aggro. I actually think that it's going to be 50-50, which I think will be healthy. I think half aggro, half control, you know, we'll put mid-range with control and whatnot. Just down the middle where you're going to see slower games, faster games. I think that's perfect for the game. I just don't see why you would want to play in a 3 slot for Shaman, which is already littered with numerous 3-drops. I don't see why you'd want to play this. You might put one of this card if it is just everything's aggro in the meta still, but I don't know. I just think that it's a little bit overrated. It's still a good card. I want you to realize if I say it's overrated, that does not mean it's not a good card. I still think it's a great card. I still think it will be played. I'm just saying that people are saying that this is within like the top 5 cards released in the Grand Tournament. I think that's the crazy part. I don't think it's crazy that the card's good. I think it's crazy that people think that this is one of the top 5. So, yeah. Here is the Paladin card with the battle cry for putting secrets. Mysterious Challenger. Put one of each secret from your deck into the battlefield. First off, this means that they'd have to change a few things. I'm pretty sure you can only play 3 secrets at a time. You can only have 3 secrets available. If this is the case, by far Paladin is the worst class for this anyways. It would be overpowered in any other class. That is a sure. So Paladin is the one that's going to get a card like this. I understand that, but if you're putting one of each secret in your deck, even if you have all 5, why would you run all of the Paladin secrets in a deck? It's horrible. It's a terrible idea. Okay, you would run maybe Noble Sacrifice, maybe Avenge, and Competitive Spirit 100%. I just think that people who are super excited about it are going to be, once again, a little bit disappointed because, first of all, you have to wait 6 mana, and they're only 1 mana cards. Yeah, I think the main reason is not the card, it's the secrets for Paladin. The Paladin secrets are just horrendous. I'm going to save the best for last, but here we are with a rogue card that I'm super excited about. I even think this would be, I personally think that this is like number 10 in the top 10 of the Grand Tournament. So I even think that I'm kind of preparing myself for this card to not be as good as what I'm expecting. When I'm reading it, it's amazing. I think everybody's reading it as amazing. It's Beneath the Grounds. Shuffle 3 ambushes into your opponent's deck. When drawn, you summon a 4/4. Now the ambushes are basically like the mine that the Iron Juggernaut gives, where they draw it. They put a 4/4 on our battlefield, and then they draw another card on top of that. So we're not denying them a draw, but the biggest problem I think is that if you play this card early game, you might not even see any of these ambush cards, which would equal a horrible play. Just wasted a card. That's number 1. And number 2, it's just too unreliable for a card. As I said, you're just hoping that they could draw 3 times in a row, and there you go. You won the game pretty much. So lastly is Tuskar Totemic, to go along with the totem theme for Shaman in this Grand Tournament. Everybody loves this card. Everybody is loving the totem theme. I like totem theme. I think it's awesome that they're pushing Shaman, and it's making Shaman viable. I will say Shaman is by far the worst class right now in Hearthstone, but this will kind of push them up and make them competitive. At least you're looking at a very competitive Shaman now. But people are thinking so positively about this card. I personally think that it's terrible because the chance of you getting a good totem is very low. The best possible outcome and it's totally worth it, is you get a 3 mana 3/2 along with a 3/4 on the battlefield right away. That's awesome. That's awesome. But if you get a healing totem, you just played a 3 mana 3/2 on turn 3, which is not good. Not good at all. Especially nowadays when they're pushing the limits with you know, the whole supposedly power creep that everybody's talking about. I agree that there's been some power, you know, things have increased substantially since I started Hearthstone. Way in the beginning, when pretty much Harvest Golem was by far the best 3-drop. Now we're looking at 3/4. A 3 mana 3/4 is pretty much what you have to play. And even 3 mana 4/3s are pretty good. But 3 mana 3/2 is very bad stats. And 1-drop can kill this off. And if the only totems you want, as I said, Totem Golem, Flame Tongue Totem, why would you ever want a Vitality Totem? I don't know. Maybe a Taunt Totem if you're completely desperate, but if you're at that point, you already lost probably. If you're so desperate that you're playing Tuskar Totemic for a Taunt Totem, you probably lost. Mana Tide Totem is okay. It's a card draw, but so you're looking at 3 totems. Those are okay. 1 totem's great. Another totem's pretty good. The other one's okay. Me saying these are overrated, underrated, does not mean that I'm taking the underrated cards and making them the best card by far, or the overrated cards are the worst cards by far. I just think that people should be curious and cautious as to what's going to outcome because of how random these events will occur. But anyways, enough of that. That is it, and I just want to thank you guys for watching, and any support you've given to me is greatly appreciated. I love doing this, so that's why I do it. I don't do it for any other reason. I just do it because I enjoy it myself, and also for future purposes when the time comes. I want to look back after about 6 months of the Grand Tournament being out and see what I thought about the Grand Tournament before it even was in play, which, very excitingly, is coming out in 3 days. So, thanks guys, and have a good one.